Everybody, welcome, welcome. Can I get you on your feet, please, to start? This is Happy Place Festival, so I couldn't resist picking happy. So everyone likes the clapping bit, right? You know this song. Are you going to clap with me? Are you going to do it? Yeah, come. Yeah, brilliant. Let's go. Wicked. Keep going, people. Bit of movement, maybe. Bit of movement. It is the last of the day, but it's not the end of the day. So wicked. Kill the music, please. You can sit down now if you would like to. But how did that make you feel? Happy. Excellent. What did you think? Who's this guy just coming on? Like, oh, immediately getting up. Did any of you actually ask yourself whether you wanted to do that, or did you just immediately go, oh yeah, some guys just come on, told me to clap, so I'll just start clapping? So you just did it, right? Yeah? Okay, so before we get into the talk, I'm just going to introduce myself. My name's Adam Slawson. I'm an empowerment and relationship coach. I have a radio show on Hackney Radio, which is called Vulnerability in the City, and I've helped hundreds of people undo the parental and social conditioning, and so that they can get more abundance and less self-sabotage, and they're quiet and their inner critic in their lives. Okay, and so a massive part of that, of course, is facing and embracing your emotions. So the purpose of this workshop is to give you some tools and frameworks which you can take away and try for yourself, to enable you to quiet that noise in your head, the inner critic and the ego, and so that you can stop self-sabotaging and have more abundance in your life. Okay? So I'm going to be covering three main things. One, how to face your emotions. Two, how and why embracing our emotions is so important and how it brings abundance into your life. And then at the end, towards the end, we're going to do like a practical exercise to really start releasing the emotions. How does that sound? You up for it? Excellent. Right. So does anyone know what this is? No? It's some black belt, someone said. Right. Did someone say black belt? Yeah. Good. Right. So it is, yes. It is a black belt. Right. Does anyone know why I have this black belt? I did earn it. I didn't nick it. Other than practice, does anyone know why I have this? I guess there's two reasons. One was anxiety. Massive bouts of anxiety. And number two was boundaries. So who here at some point suffers from anxiety a little bit? Do it like a show of hands let's do a scale. So who a little bit to a lot? Whereabouts are we? Okay, fair play. Well, thank you for bringing that, and thank you for your vulnerability, because it makes you human, right? Because we all do suffer from it occasionally. I had one I call it Anxiety Gate. It was quite a few years ago now, but I slept about 2 hours a night for 3 weeks. I didn't have much weight to lose, but I lost 7 kilos of weight, and I even turned this weird shade of grey. It was very, very unpleasant. And anxiety for me was a prison of my life, and that moment was solitary confinement. But it was also the best moment of my life, because it massively projected me into what I do now, and it really helped me on my self-development journey. Okay, so then number two of how I got a black belt in kickboxing was boundaries and understanding them properly. And to illustrate this, I would like a volunteer. Does anyone want to stand up? We're not going to be boxing or anything. It's going to be quite quick. Can I take a volunteer? You were the first. What's your name? Amy. Come up on stage, Amy. All the way up. All the way up. So what I'd like you to do is just stand. This is roughly boxing stance, so like this. So, okay. So what I'm going to do, if it's okay, I'm going to push you on your shoulder like this, right? So what I'm representing is life, stuff happening, relationships not going well, career, whatever it might be. I'm pushing at you, right? What do you do? You're pushing. Well, you're pushing back, right? So eventually, if you keep pushing, life keeps coming at you. What happens is you get tired, right? You get tired of that. So this is the one way you go from a white belt to a black belt in kickboxing and working with your emotions, right? So if you just push on my shoulder, so this, keep pushing, you actually do this. Yeah. Learn how to take a step back, right? That is the main way you get, that's what you need. Thank you, round of applause, thank you. That is the main way you get a black belt in both working with your emotions, to create a gap between you and the emotion, essentially. That's what we're trying to do. So who here thinks they could have better boundaries in life? Any people pleasers in the... That's why you're here. Brilliant. So any people pleasers in the house? Excellent. Well, yes. Difficulty saying no, obviously. Anxiety, numbness. We've called that anger outbursts. Anybody? Okay, overthinkers, inner critics. Right, that makes you beautifully human. I've got the T-shirt for all of those things. So we're all in the same place. Excellent. So all of those things are signs of unprocessed trauma. So just to be frank about that. And so what I'm going to do, the first tool here is to create a conditioning list. So this sounds like a really grand statement to say, but I want you to write down everything you can remember in your entire life. That sounds big, right? But just the top 10 things. Whatever pops to mind of anything you think of significance, that is something related to a trauma that will be affecting your behavior in the present. So once you've got that conditioning list, you know where your behaviors might be coming from, right? So let me just illustrate that. Can you remember 3 months ago going to a supermarket and getting food? Like a generic supermarket? No. But if you got punched in the face or met the love of your life in that supermarket, you would remember it because there was an emotion attached to the situation. Okay, so you could probably remember the supermarket you went to, the time, the day, everything about it, the color of the prunes or whatever was there. You'd be able to, if particularly it was the love of your life, I suppose. But yeah, so what I just want to illustrate is if you can remember it, there was an emotion attached to it. And a lot of that will be affecting your behavior in the present, right? So now we have an awareness of what may be causing our emotional reactions. What I want to do is how to face them, because that's why you're here, right? This talk is called How to Face and Embrace Your Emotions. So before we can face something, we need to know what it is. So I'm going to ask you guys, what are emotions? Anyone asked that question before? Feelings, yes. Anything else? Anyone care to shout out? Sorry? Feelings, emotion. Oh, yes, almost is what the one I'm going for. Expression, yeah. The one I'm going for is, and the guy called John Bradshaw said this, and he was the founding father of the self-help movement apparently, emotions are a form of energy in motion. Okay, so and the word emotion actually comes from a Latin word which is a movere, which means to move out, move through, or just move. Okay, so, and the first law of thermodynamics, getting a bit sciencey on you for a minute, it says that the amount of energy in the universe is constant, right? It cannot be created or destroyed. It has to be transferred, right? So that means that the energy of our emotions has to move. And if we emotionally react and feel out of control, it's because our emotions can't or don't move. And that energy, when you get to a point where you get overwhelmed with energy, it can be a lot to face at times. So to embrace it, we need to be able to do that thing, exactly like in kickboxing, be able to take a step back. Okay, but how do we do that? So there's a philosophical statement which is you cannot be what you observe. Right? I'm not you because I can see you. You're not me because you can see me. I can't see me without looking in the mirror. Right? I can't see into my own head, if you know what I mean. I can't see myself. So we know what we are by what we are not. And so therefore you can't be what you observe. So if you notice what you're noticing, as soon as you're angry, as soon as you're sad, as soon as you can see it, you know you're not it. And therefore what you've done is taken a step back. Who's here been angry and then all of a sudden goes, oh my God, what was I doing? And before that point, you're just caught up in it, right? You've kind of lost yourself. Because at that moment, you actually are anger. You are the energy of it. But as soon as you can take a step back, you have more choice. And so noticing what you're noticing is all about extending that choice gap. And that gap can be extended by understanding 2 limited beliefs. 1, thoughts are real, they do not exist. They do not, they're just in our heads. There's no such thing as a positive or negative emotion, thought or emotion. We just think there is. So let me go into that. We have about 70 to 90,000 thoughts a day, right? They just pop up. We can't control the first one. I've got a kind of embarrassing story about that, which is I was sadly at my dad's sister's funeral about a year ago. And it wasn't a cremation, it was where you get buried in a graveyard. And my dad went up, as you do, very upset to put the dirt in, as you do. And my thought was, I'm going to push him in. That was the thought that went into my brain. And I was like, what are you like? That is the word. That's so rude to think that. But old me, years ago, would have dwelled on that, gone, oh my God, I'm such a nasty person, I do all these things. But then, because you control your second thought, I was like, okay, I just kind of giggled to myself. I know you shouldn't do that at a funeral, but I did. And I was like, okay. And I just had compassion for myself. So the point is that you can control your second thought. So I'm going to go into that a bit as well. So do you remember when you were a kid, someone has said to you at some point, don't touch that thing, it's hot. Yeah? What did you do? I'm an inquisitive kid, go, get burned, right? Ow, I shouldn't have done that. I should have listened to my parents. But it physically hurt. Right? So what happened is you get a memory. It's like, oh, if I do that thing, I'm going to get burned, so I don't do it anymore. Of course, we all get burnt. If Netflix, go and get our pizza, we accidentally get burned. Of course, that happens. But you're not conscious you're going to burn yourself. So the same thing is true for a negative thought. But our ego is programmed to fix it, so we keep touching the negative thought, and it keeps the energy trapped in our body. That's why that's how we suffer from stuff like anxiety. Okay, because we keep touching the thought. So things like meditation, yoga, qigong, which was on just before here, is beautiful things to enable us to space, literally taking a step back so that we can view our emotions and not keep them trapped in our bodies. The second thing to accept is that all emotions, all of them, are equally as important as each other. There's none are better than the other. Happiness is not better than sadness. We just think it is, right? It's all energy that wants to move. All energy that wants to move. And this was the key, absolute key, that transformed my career. It transformed my relationships with my partner now there. And I used to have very bad avoidant tendencies, but because of this ability to not judge myself when I felt shame or guilt or anything, it was just another emotion. It meant I can lean into it and improve my avoidant tendencies. I stopped judging my emotions. Okay, they're all as equally as important as each other. And if you embed that into your way of being, that choice gap will extend. Because our inner critics are loud simply because we've got energy trapped in our body from your conditioning list. Okay, so I'm going to illustrate that with this hose pipe. Okay, so this is a way to think about how your emotions work in your body. Imagine this bit. Let's put this away for a second. Imagine this bit. I'm going to use me as the thing, but imagine that's your body, this bit. And imagine this bit going behind me, and if it was attached to the tap, is the history of your life, or my life in this case, right? So when you're a baby, when you're fresh out your mum's tummy, you know what to do. You instinctively, you've got 100% capacity to feel, and you've got 100% trust in your instincts. Okay, for argument's sake, we do have ancestral trauma and other things, but for argument's sake, it's 100%, right? But as soon as we come out, that's when the parental and social conditioning starts, right? So what for me, it was like I fell down the stairs when I was 1, and I thought I was abandoned. I got bullied at the age of 6, bullied at the age of 7, bullied at the age of 14, got into a fight where they hit me and I nearly killed someone at the age of 17, and completely lost control. And that's where one of my major anxiety things came from, okay? So if you think about when something happens in the present, it's like you're from your conditioning list, it's like pressure built up at one of the kinks. And that feeling of the hissing in a hose is very much like the feeling of anxiety. It's like, oh God, it's too much, right? But that pressure is a lot. So what actually happens at some point is, it's like the kinks are all taken out at the same time. All the energy comes rushing through. So what do? Mine was, I'll go and have a drink, take some drugs, then I will go and have sex, do all these things. I'll do everything to numb myself, and all that does is put the kinks back in. Does that make sense with that? Excellent. So what we need to do is learn to massage out the kinks bit by bit, and that's what I work with people on. Okay, but who here, show of hands, likes a physical massage? Pretty much everybody. Okay, who likes it when it hurts a bit? Okay, say this to you. But why do you like it? Why do you like it when it hurts? Sorry? It's doing you good, right? Yes, it is. If you know that the output of a physical massage is doing you good. But if I walked up to you right now and just stuck my elbow in your back, you'd be like, dude, fuck off. Right? Why? Because it hurts. Yeah? And it's exactly the same principle with your emotions. Okay, I know that on the other side of the pain of anxiety or the pain of vulnerability or putting yourself out there, it's good, right? And I've had a lot of experience doing that, and that's why I hold containers for people. But that's what I'm saying to you guys. When you feel anxiety, it's actually a good thing. When you feel vulnerability from it, it's actually a good thing. We just think it's a negative thing. It's just pressure built up at one of your kinks. Okay? Right, so now that we know how to face our emotions, I'm going to provide you a little encouragement and say why embracing our emotions is so important and how it gets abundance into your life. As I've said, most, if not all, I believe it's like 95% of our behavior is programmed into us before the age of 7. And it's our parental and social conditioning. And it limits our ability to show our emotions. Okay, and so those here in male bodies, I think there is just one at this point in time, represent, is things like big boys don't cry, right? You probably heard that statement, and it absolutely conditions us to not feel from the neck down, right? And so it means our emotions just build up like lots of kinks because we can't allow the energy to move. For those in female bodies, often sentences like, good girl should be seen and not heard, which is both of those sentences are utter horseshit, but they get said, means that a lot of women that don't allow anger to flow through. What happens for those in female bodies quite a lot is when they're angry, they go to sadness, because sadness is socially acceptable for women to show. Again, utter rubbish, but anger is socially acceptable for men to show and not sadness. But we need the correct tool for getting sadness out of your body is tears. And the correct tool for getting anger out of your body is screaming and shouting, punching and kicking, not somebody, but that's what needs to happen. But if you don't use the right tool, you leave a little bit of that energy which is one of your kinks trapped in your body. Okay? So by reversing our conditioning is vitally important if we want to live the life that's meant for us. So using some of the reframes, which I've mentioned, which is like the hose pipe, can help you give and extend that choice gap, and so you'll embrace your emotions and hopefully not run for them, not fear them so much. So this sentence is quite important, that life brings you people and situations to reflect where you're not free. Okay, so when you're in a relationship with someone or work, and if something big is coming up within you, it's actually a gift. Who here has a gratitude practice? Are you grateful for the bad things as well? Or is it just the good things?
I am these days,
yeah. Right. Yeah, because it's the... 1 second. It's the negative things that actually are better, because what they've done, that mirror, the life, has highlighted somewhere where you've got a kink in your hose pipe. And so now what you've done is you've got a bit of distance from it so you can see it, so therefore you can do something about it. And each time we face and embrace an emotion, it is just like massaging out a kink in your hose pipe. Okay? And when you have more space, you end up with more choice. And so think of it this way, right? So imagine my life, or your life at this point in time, is like when I started this work, I was facing 12 o'clock. Okay, I was facing 12 o'clock. I used to suffer from anxiety terribly badly. But when I got into a position which made me feel vulnerable, I had a choice. I could either stay as I was, and life would stay exactly the same, or make a different choice. And so imagine the second hand. Every time I made a different choice, I went tick. Looking at slightly different life, tick. Slightly different life, tick. Before I knew it, I was like, oh, that's all right, old life there, here, slightly different life. Eventually, doing enough ticks, I don't identify with suffering from anxiety anymore, because it is actually a good thing. I'm like, oh, I feel anxious. It feels horrible, but it's really a good thing. Okay, and once you've reframed it in that way, it gives you a confidence to be able to change. Right, so this is obviously important. So I would like to give you a model that you can take away, and so to give you some confidence to express your emotions more. So I'd like everyone just to put your hand on your heart and imagine that your heart and body is like a car engine, okay? A petrol car engine. What is the 3 things that a car engine needs to work? I'm after 3 main things, just shout them out. Fuel. So someone said fuel, but I'll include water as fuel. Yes? One more? Correct, but not the one I'm looking for. Sorry? That's going to go in fuel as well. Next one, I'll go oil. And the last one is, the only reason I know this is because my dad's an engineer, but it's exhaust. Like if a petrol car does not work unless you've got, unless the exhaust can come out. And it's exactly the same for us as a human body, right? So fuel, in the case of working with our emotions, is breath. I'm sure you know that. But job 1, if you're ever emotional, is breathe through your nose, because that goes into your parasympathetic nervous system, it chills you out. If you breathe through your mouth, it's like, and that's like what you need to run away. That's like nitrous oxide in the fuel tank, and that's like bursts of energy. Okay, so oil, in this analogy, represents our emotions. So the energy in motion. So imagine a car engine where the oil hasn't moved in a while, it goes rusty. That's essentially depression. It's the same equivalent. And exhaust, how do we exhaust our emotions from our body? Like we started this thing, a bit of movement helps. That's there. Noise, so shouting into a pillow or something along those lines, not at a person. And one that's really, really powerful is talking about our emotions. But what happens when we talk about our emotions? We get that feeling, that, oh my God, I can't say that. It's horrible. You know, but that's the anxiety, that's the vulnerability, and that's the go, not a no. Because when we release the trapped emotions from our past, which is the hose pipe, and bringing that back into mind through talking, noise, and movement, the volatility of our anxiety in the present massively reduces. And that enables you with more confidence. And it stops the overthinking, because when you've released your kinks, your mind just goes, "Brr." So who would like inner peace? Everyone's nodding. Yeah. But you don't just go, oh, I feel really confused, and they go, oh, I've got inner peace, great. It's not how it works. Well, how it works is incrementally making changes on a daily basis. Right? A lot of people in the spiritual communities go, oh, I've gone on a retreat, it's great, I'm enlightened. And then they come back to life and go, smoke those fags, do all those things. It's not how it works. You have to bring it back into daily life and make different choices. Right, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to do a practical demo of this, which is we're going to shout a bit. So we're going to leave this room, or this tent, feeling a bit buzzed up, and we'll take that energy back into our lives. So I'm going to ask you to get on your feet. I'll have a drink. So this is the yin way of getting emotions out of your body. Is quite more gentle, which is talking about your emotions. The yang way is shouting and screaming and punching and kicking. So what I'm going to invite you to do now is that. So not people, don't punch each other, but this is just a screaming exercise. But what I'm going to ask you to do is scream from your belly. Try not to scream from your vocal cords. And we're going to make as much noise as we possibly can, right? And what's just happened in your brain is probably gone, oh, I can't do that. People will look at me, do all these things. It's exactly the same thing as I'm talking about. Make a different choice, right? When you hear that alarm bell goes off, that's just your ego trying to keep you safe. It's complete bullshit, okay? So on the count, what we're going to do is breathe in and roar. And then we're going to do it again, because you're never going to roar as much as you should do on the first time. Okay, so we'll breathe in, roar, and then we'll breathe in and roar again. Make sense? You're going to go for it? You're going to, a show of hands, a commitment. How much are you going to commit to this shout? 2 hands up, loving it. Excellent, right. So on the count of 3, breathe in through your nose, or breathe in just at all. Go, breathe in, and shout, go! Ah! Come on, shout, no, more. You're going to do it 3 times. Breathe in. Shout! Go! Ah! Now, one last time. Breathe in. Ah! Okay. Does anyone feel a bit like slightly lightheaded, maybe, or a little bit tingly? A little bit. That's because you've literally, and I mean literally, just made more space in your body. You can sit down now if you want to. You've literally just converted energy from one type of energy, which is in your body, to another type, which is sound in this instance, right? So if you're ever feeling angry, have a shout. Not at somebody again, but as a practice from today, and this is when I said make different choices, I'm inviting you for the next 30 days, even if it's a week, when you have a shower in the morning or whenever you have a shower, finish your shower, get your towel, rah, rah, 3 or 4 times. Right? Because what that does is our bodies are all conditioned out of feeling anger. So what we want to do is make it like soften our bodies to say that anger's okay. Because most people are afraid of their anger or what's going to happen. I was for 20 years because I beat someone up, as I said. But eventually I made peace with it, and now I can be angry at a pillow, but I let it out, and that's getting rid of kinks in our hose pipe. Okay? So we're coming towards the end now. So what I'm going to leave you to, I've said quite a lot, of course, but what to focus on? Energy flow, emotional flow. Most people talk about mental health or physical health. In my book, that's a mistake, because there's the neck attaches our head and our body. We don't have a body and a head. They're not separate. Okay, and I think that's causing problems, because you can have good mental health and rubbish physical health. You can have good physical health and rubbish mental health. That does happen. So if you concentrate on emotional health, if your energy of your emotions, if the oil is moving through your machine, your physical health and mental health will look after itself. Okay, so how do we do that? Face, notice what you're noticing, and embrace, which is make a different behavior, equals choice. And if you have more choice in life, you have more abundance, because you can choose which relationship you're in, you can choose your career, you can choose whatever you want, and that's how you get abundance, you have the ability to choose. Life will not change unless you make the decision to make it change. Imagine your life right now is Channel 5, great TV channel, but that one, imagine it's that, and you wanted to start watching Channel 11, you have to change the channel, right? You can't keep watching Channel 5 if you want to reach Channel 11. It's impossible. And imagine, in an old school TV, when you flick the remote, there's like a, and then you go, that's anxiety, that's vulnerability, that's the feeling. So whenever you feel that, go into it, not away from it. And you've already taken a step. Lots of people in this festival haven't. You showed up to this because you want to be able to be better with your emotions. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So you've drawn a line in the sand. And the choice is, do you want to carry on doing that? Keep making those choices. Commended you for coming here. Thank you. Otherwise, I'll be talking to the mat. And it's because when we face and embrace our emotions and the vulnerability that comes with that, we can feel our feelings. And once we feel our feelings, it is like getting the kinks out of the hosepipe. And that's what gets us towards abundance. And I'm going to leave you with two statements, which is, if you're not expressing how you are feeling, you are literally, and I mean literally, creating a life and a relationship that was never meant for you. The only way to get the life that was meant for you is to be authentic. And to be authentic, we have to lean into our vulnerabilities, into the things that we're not proud about, all those things. And so whomever's in front of us, if they leave because of that, it's like, jog on, see you later. But what you've done is you're sculpting a life by things that perhaps aren't fitting with it. And eventually, the life that's meant for you becomes the life that you really want. So vulnerability is the catalyst to our freedom. When you feel it, it is healing something. It is a go, not a no. Right, so what we're going to do now is with the outro music, is I'm going to invite you to get up and just express yourself however you want to through to this tune. And again, I want you to go as crazy as you possibly can and just like imagine no one's watching. Again, as the alarm just gone off in your brain. So get on your feet. Come on, peeps. We're going to do it. It's a different choice. Come on, get up. You might be tired. Just express yourself however you want to. Imagine you're free. Close your eyes if you want to. Let's do it. This is the end of the festival, people. So let's just enjoy this song. Okay, let's go. Bit of drum and bass. That's it. Come on. There it is. Let's go. Yeah, people. Come on. Woo! Excellent. I've been Adam Slawson. I'm the vulnerability guy on Instagram. It's been an actual pleasure talking to you. Keep going, peeps, if you want to. Just do it for 20 more seconds. You've got 20 more seconds to make a different choice. Go for it. Go. 20 more seconds. Go crazy. Oh, you look like such beautiful human beings right now. Wicked. Awesome. Oh, that was ace. Thank you. As I said, I'm Adam Slawson. On Instagram, I'm the vulnerability guy. There's cards over on that board thing if you want to do that. Does anyone have any questions? No? All right, cool. Yes?
Do you do anything for children, like in schools?
I do.
In behaviour schools, where children have a lot of...
I do. So I do a monthly event called Emotion Pit, which is a rage release rave. And so which happens in London, in Hackney. And so if you wanted to cut, like that's basically dancing and roaring at the same time, in essence. But I would like, let's talk afterwards, because I'd love to take it into schools, because I'm working in September, I'll be going to be working with ex-prisoners and young adults doing the same thing. So I'd love to have a chat. If anyone wants to stay in touch, I've got